Now, March is Women's Month, and a lot of folks say it's time to woman up. Here are some of the up trends that she wants to talk about with us today, and we'll talk about with her right now. Good morning, doctor. How you doing?
Oh, good morning, and thank you for having me.
She sounds better than I do coming in via Skype. That's a good connection. So what are some of the up things that we're going to be seeing in 2015 for women in the workplace? What are some of those up trends?
You know, Michael, I think that 2015 is just an extension of the positive things that I saw in 2014. And I was looking at women, young women. I was looking at our women in their mid-careers. And I'm also looking at some of the trends that our older women are setting. And it certainly will prove to be a breakout year in a lot of areas.
Now, some of the things that we see specifically, of course, is we've got, some big Fortune 500 firms have got some ladies moving on up the chain in that, plus in politics and others. Give us some examples.
Yes, I think that if women, this is the year when 2015 where women are looking for promotion, lateral moves, and opportunities inside and outside of the firm. I think 2015 is the year for it, and I'll tell you why. There was so much momentum created in 2014. I mean, starting with Google just being very transparent that there was discrepancy of women in leadership positions and women in high-tech firms. And that just created this momentum of a lot of CEOs and boards saying we have to do something about it. And it's always great when you have a high-tech firm that's very data-driven to show you the data. The second thing is that the jobs reports have been very good and people are optimistic. And when people are optimistic, that means they're hiring. So I encourage women to first look, of course, internally and see what are the opportunities, because the ball's in your court this year. And you can, raise your hand and say, maybe it's time for a promotion or a leadership position. And if you're frustrated internally, if there's jobs opening up outside of your company, well, this would be also the time to explore there, because when you move outside of companies, a lot of times you can net almost 20 to 30% increase in salary. So I think 2015 is a good year.
Well, and I think as you move out, I mean, you make a valid point that sometimes outside of that career path, more and more women becoming entrepreneurs also gives them a lot better opportunities, in startups and everything else. Plus that we just had an interview with folks from the office, one of the local statewide offices of the civil rights and the equal opportunity, where they're encouraging female-owned businesses. They get a leg up in a lot of these contracting and everything else under the government contracts, because they have the advantage in that situation. They're mandated to do business with a certain amount of women-owned businesses.
Yeah, and that's an opportunity, and I'm glad that you mentioned women's startups, because that's the trend that I see that our younger generation is driving. Our women under 30, our millennials. Last year, 2014, they were starting an average of 1,200 businesses a day, and that was up 740 businesses a day from the year before. There's so much optimism for women starting businesses, particularly our younger women in 2015. And I actually went through and just found there are a number of women starting high-tech startups. And people don't really think about it. They think of the big ones, the Googles and the Facebook, and yes, started by men. But these women, let me tell you, I could, go through this list here. There's some exciting firms that women are creating.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was looking at one the other day, and I don't remember the gal's name, 25 years old from California. She just started a new wireless recharging company. Ubeam, that's what it was, Ubeam. And, she just got this thing off the ground. She's a firecracker. And, there's some really real go-getters out there in this. It's pretty amazing stuff. One of the things that I did want to touch on is yesterday you were on with us in a special interview, because we were talking about sexual harassment here in the workplace in Alaska specifically. And you said you also had some technology recommendations for people who are dealing, because it may be an up year for women, but there's still things that are happening out there to kind of keep them down. What are some of the things that we can do, or technology that we can utilize to help prevent some of that?
I think at a very simple level, people need to remember that you need to save all your electronic communications, because you can use that in court. And so that's the text messaging. That's the emails.
Right.
That's the Facebook pages, right? That's the LinkedIn. But also we have an incredible ability not to really using Vine and all of our video technologies, we can videotape things. We can record things. Now the phone's not legal, but there's, so much out there today and everybody's taking pictures and everybody's taking videos that you should be saving these and documenting them. I think the most relevant, probably what people receive are the texting. And if you are receiving text messages from someone who's harassing you, save those, document them so that you can, really use them in a later time.
Right. And remember, Alaska itself specifically is a one-party state, so as long as one party knows that they're being recorded, which would be you in the case of being an employee with a problem employer, you're golden as far as that goes. And so, again, having that documented stuff definitely helps. As you get up into the age bracket and you see, of course, the boomers are getting ready to retire, and that includes boomer ladies who are out there. They're going to be changing some of their habits as well as they get out of the workplace. What is happening with the older generation and retirees that are coming up?
Well, I saw this study by the AARP about women 50, 55, and 60s, and they were setting some very new trends, which just speaks to the fact that women are trendsetters at all ages. And the two trends that caught my eye is how much travel that they're doing, and, at least 5 trips a year, mostly in the United States, but also abroad. But the other trend I caught was that they're shacking up, and I don't know if you remember a TV show called Golden Girls.
Sure.
Everybody loved that show, but it's about 4 women who were either widowed or divorced who decided instead of going to the doom and gloom old age home that they were going to split a house and shack up together. And it became a sense of community. It became a sense of sharing finances. It became a social, place for people. And older women are leading this trend again and just saying, you know what, why should I live alone? Why should I live with a family member? I've done that. Let me live with my girlfriends. And so I think that's kind of fun.
Dr. Tracey Wilen, we're down to the last minute here, so I'll give you the last word on March, the month for women. Your final advice to folks out there, and especially ladies, as they move forward in their careers. What should they be looking at?
I think that 2015 is an exciting year, whether you're working in a firm or you're planning to make a career transition. And it's very optimistic for women who are pursuing startups, particularly technology startups.
Yeah, so taking a look, and there's always opportunity out there. And, of course, starting your own business is not a bad idea, especially being able to take advantage of tax breaks and everything else that the system was actually written for. Those aren't loopholes. That's actually the law. So you can be able to go out there and utilize that and benefit from it. Dr. Tracey Wilen, appreciate you coming in and joining us. Thank you so much for coming in today. We look forward to talking to you again here in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
Have a great week. Thanks for coming in. We got more.